It's just not fucking fair. My heart is breaking. It's breaking. This wall, I had pictures of him and me on it. Pictures of our memories. Now it's just a blank wall. Over there, our TV. Watching box sets in the winter, snuggled up under a blanket, laughing at our favourite comedies. Lee and I would lay on the sofa just here. We made love on that sofa, spilt tea on that sofa. I had friends come and sleep on it. Now it's just an empty space. That's how I feel. Empty.
I remember we used to have fun. Lee used to chase me around this house. Or if I was bored, he'd cheer me up by inventing some silly little game. Or he'd take me dancing. Lee used to say I had the moves. I know he was taking the piss, but I used to make up these silly little dance moves to make him laugh. I used to make him laugh. Seems such a long time ago now.
I'd instigate conversations about our relationship. Once I asked him what he liked about me, he stared blankly for a moment and then said, "Your tits." He was really paranoid I was trying to catch him out or something, when all I wanted to do was to make us stronger. And then this horrible curse that has left me and us practically lifeless. And to think it all started with good news, hope, the thing we'd always wanted, a child of our own.
When I told him I was pregnant, I'll never forget the look in his eyes. It was shining. But before we knew what we had, we lost it. Before we could hear a cry, before we could hear a snuffle, before we could hold her, she was gone. And in the most painful way.
Explaining our situation to family was hard. They just didn't get it. They didn't like Lee showing up to dinner on his own, or a wedding, or whatever. They just didn't understand. I remember seeing the gynecologist after my diagnosis, but not really understanding it. Not understanding why my body, which is instinctively ready to repair itself if needs be, is battling against me. Tearing me down from the inside.
Endo what? I said. Endometriosis, he said. That's what the cyst was, lying on one of my ovaries, using it like a hammock. You have stage 4 endometriosis, the most severe end of the scale. He went on. This is where tissue similar to the lining of the womb grows in other parts of the body, usually the pelvis.
Because the tissue is similar, it behaves in the same way your womb does, so it will swell with blood, and when you have your period, it will also bleed. This creates adhesions as a way of repairing itself. These are bands of scar tissue growing throughout your pelvis, and it's caused your womb, bowel and rectum to become stuck together, and it's now pulling your womb in the direction of the spine. This explains all the pain you're experiencing daily. Endo. It's even got a cute little nickname.
I was a peripatetic music teacher, doing a lot of driving for an extremely demanding job. I needed to get better. How do we get rid of it? I asked, in the blind hopes that I could just take a pill or something. Then he replied with,
Another laparoscopy can remove the cyst, or they can laser off the endo attached between the womb and the rectum. But after a time, it'll more than likely grow back. There is a chance that should surgery need to be aggressive, they can damage your ovary, or they may even have to remove it completely.
He goes on to advise that there isn't a known cure for it. 1 in 10 women are sufferers, but that in many cases endo can fail to return, or the pain can be extensively reduced after childbirth, or a hysterectomy.
A hysterectomy. So my options were either having a baby or eliminating any chance of having one at all with the hope that it might make a difference to my level of pain. As an alternative, I was told that I could be put on meds to force the body into menopause. Menopause at 26.
I yelled at him, told him my body's been through enough trauma as it is without going through a chemical-induced menopause. He suggested I discuss my options with Lee to see which treatment would be best. The longer we left it, the harder it would be to have children.
Turns out I'd had it for years. Just kept being fobbed off with IBS this or gastro that. Oh, and I had the most severe form. Most women only get pain around their periods, whereas mine was every bloody day.
So I tried to carry on with life as normal, as you do, you know. Keep calm and carry on and all that. I went back to work. But controlling a classroom with this debilitating pain was impossible. I passed out in front of the kids once. Lee was surprised to see me at home before him that day. He couldn't believe there was nothing the doctors could do about this pain. He looked so helpless.
Just made no sense. I mean, I'm in pain, right? My body is going through pain and fatigue. I come to some professional medical consultant, and you tell me, just get pregnant. Put your body through 9 months of trauma to go with all your other fun symptoms. It's beggars belief, right? I just don't get why the pain isn't a priority.
Despite all that, Lee smiled and said that we'd get through this together. We're both so desperate for a baby, but he's more desperate for me to be well. My angel.
An afternoon of work turned into a week off. That evolved into only going in once or twice a week. When it came to the crunch, the music service I worked for did not renew my contract. So now we're trying to survive on one wage. And the stress of everything is just making my symptoms worse.
One day, Lee came home to find me at the bottom of the stairs, unconscious. I'd been crawling to get to the bathroom. The pain was so severe I couldn't even walk. It's like having a hot poker inside your vagina. Not only did I not make it up the stairs, but my bladder ran out of patience. So Lee found me in a puddle of my own urine. That was a welcome home he wasn't going to forget.
Not only was the man of my dreams the only one working, he was now housemaid and my carer. He was all too much for him. See me face down at the bottom of the stairs, it just freaked him out. We were stacking loans and he was getting ill too. It was such a strain on him mentally.
So he suggested we move back in with our respective parents. That way he could concentrate on work and getting us out of debt. And he could make a good go of his preferred career, a writer.
He can make more money in London and then we can get back on our feet. But I can't help but think that I'm to blame, that it's all my fault. Like every day is such a struggle. And our family doesn't understand. Like, even my work colleagues and my employer, they didn't give two shits either.
I feel like I'm walking around a crowded town, screaming in pain, and no one can see me.
This is why it's called an invisible illness. And I'm so angry. If endo was a man's problem, you can bet any amount of money they'd be doing everything they can to sorting a cure for it. But no, they're more interested in creating pills to keep a man hard for hours. But it's fucking tough luck if a woman's got the curse. Or it's that time of the month again, is it?
The sheer venom I feel for being robbed of a life I wanted. A choice I wanted. I just wanted to be a mum. My guilt was doubled when I read the poem he wrote. The first one written in over a year. He called it Not to Be.
I never got to meet you, to show you how to be. I never got to look at you to see how much was me. I never got to hold you, to plant the sweetest kiss. I never got to hear your cries and rock you into bliss.
I'll never get to show you how much I have to give. I'll never get to show you where we were to live. I'll never get to show you how wonderful she is, the beauty of her angelic soul sparkling with fizz.
I'll never get to see you love her with your eyes, or how she make you giggle, chuckling to the skies. We'll never get to teach you, love and watch you grow. We'll never get to hold your hands, swing you to and fro.
We'll never get to watch you sleep. We'll never get to hear you peep. We'll never forget you weren't to be. You were her, and you were me.
My friend Kirsty came round in an attempt to bring back some normality to my life. Instead, she brought the reality. She too could not understand the idea of chronic pain, how it was incurable. And to top it off, she brought round things I could not consume.
I was on an organic diet. It's supposed to help with the pain, and putting the right things into your body isn't going to make anything worse. She seemed offended though. I couldn't have the wine because of the amount of medication I was on. Couldn't have the chocolate or popcorn either. And then
Everything came to a head when she asked me about my endo, and then went into a common monologue I've heard many times before. Oh, I know somebody who's got that, but they got over it and they're all right now, etc., etc. See? People don't understand. No two cases are the same. It's different for everybody. I ended up yelling at her. And then she left. Another person lost in the sea of intolerance for an invisible illness.
Everybody wants to help, but it's not a broken leg, it's nothing that you can see getting better. Some women only get pain around the time of their period, maybe for a few days, and no, I'm not talking about period pain. A woman with endo pain is severely different.
Take your worst period pain. Now multiply that by 100 and you'll be approaching the ballpark of pain that I go through, and sometimes it's all day and every day. And it's because of this fucking curse on my life that Lee and I are having to move out separately because we can't afford to live here anymore.
The pressure was getting on top of us. I tried to convince him to leave me. He wouldn't consider it for a second. I'm no good. Not anymore. I'm broken. I'm a shell that's cracking. And I feel like nothing is going to put me back together. I'm a shadow of what I used to be.
He says, we'll get through this together. But there's no getting through this. There's no end point. This is it. And for the rest of my life. But it doesn't have to be for the rest of his.
He's wanted to be a dad since forever. Said even when he was a child, he knew he wanted to be a parent. I can't give him that. I have a 10% chance of conceiving naturally. The one thing he really wants, and I can't give it to him. What does that make me?
The one thing I should be able to do and I can't. Everyone we know is having or just had a baby. And I am so sick of people saying you can just adopt. Like you can just go down to Lidl and pick one up off the shelf. I want to give birth. I want to connect with the little version of us that's been growing inside of me for 9 months. We've been arguing over names for years, and now we can't. And we won't.
It's the defining thing that separates women from men, isn't it? I'm fucking broken. I sit here all day and think, what have I done to deserve this? This has to be punishment, doesn't it? It's not like cancer. Horrible as it sounds, even cancer has an end point. People die from it, don't they? This would be me every single day. I just feel like I'm being punished.
I just want to make him happy. I want us to be happy again.
I just want to wake up in the morning and have a choice. Choose who I want to be. That's what I want.
Life. It's never what you think it's going to be. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get mine back. We always used to look forward, but now I'm scared of what the future holds. Really scared.
I am 1 in 10.
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 In 10.
I am 1 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 in 10. I am 1 in 10.
1 in 10.
I am 1 in 10.
Over 1.5 million women in the UK live with endometriosis. The All-Party Parliamentary Group surveyed over 10,000 with endometriosis and found that the diagnosis time, on average, is still 8 years in the UK. This has not improved in over a decade. It found that some secondary care practitioners did not follow NICE guidance. It found that 58% of women had visited their GP 10 times or more with symptoms, that 58% were concerned about losing their jobs. It found 27% had felt that they did not get a promotion because of it, and that 28% had had to leave their job as a result.